to the JohnnyFongo Show. I am JohnnyFongo. It is April 1st, April Fool's Day 2021. Welcome to the show. A little bit about the show. This is a show about sharing my research in the cannabis sector, particularly publicly traded companies. We will look at everything cannabis, THC, CBD, hemp, and everything in between. Now, some stories we cover are going to look at companies that are not publicly traded yet. First off, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I'm just a regular guy. I'm a big fan of the plant, big fan of investing, big fan of trading, and I'm a big fan of research. And I hope you enjoy the information I share here. Any stock or company I talk about is not a recommendation to buy it. It is more a recommendation to learn about the company if it fits into your strategy. With that being said, let's get to this. We've got a lot of news to look at today. First off, we're going to run down some headlines from April 1st, 2021. Press release. The Valens Company to hold conference call to discuss financial results for the first quarter of 2021. Comes through at 7:02 a.m. on the Dow Jones Newswire. Next up, Fior Cannabis announces private placement to fuel expansion in U.S. markets. 7:01 a.m. news file. European pharmaceutical company Stada, S-T-A-D-A, and MedPharm Labs begin first sales in Germany under exclusive agreement. 7:01 a.m. Globe Newswire. Exciting. I like it when I see global news. Cannabis is a global thing. It's all over the world. Trust me. I've got listeners all over the world, believe it or not, for this little Cannabis Stock show. And I'd like to shout out to my listeners in Australia, Japan, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sweden, Switzerland, Canada, most definitely Brazil. If you haven't had a chance, go back and listen to my interview with Victor Oak over the weekend, the moderator of the Cannabis in Brazil Reddit site. It's very dangerous down in Brazil for cannabis, from what I understand. And believe it or not, they can only get brickweed. So let's keep Brazil in our thoughts. Hopefully they can get their stuff together. Next up, Delta 8 THC and CBD brand consolidator acquired Sales Corp, OTCQX AQSP, owner of Lifted Made, announces quarter-over-quarter revenue growth of 46%, up $687,000, and a 473% increase in net income. 7 o'clock, Globe Newswire. Sounds like they're having a good run at it. Agrify announces 2020 annual results, 7 a.m. I do own Agrify, full disclosure. I have had them a little over a month, maybe. Just kind of sideways, back and forth for now. Did have a little uptick in it, but it's kind of come back down. Next up, Green Thumb Industries announces conference participation for April 2021. Green Thumb has been in some news. Looks like some federal regulators are snooping around, wanting to know some answers to some questions they have. Haven't really dug into that story too much, but that's something to be aware of with Green Thumb. It looks like it, from last I saw their price, it did bring it down some. Looks like it closed the day yesterday at $29.50. So it was up high of $39 a little while back. So that's had an adverse effect on the company's stock price. So keep up with that if you're into the Green Thumb Industries play. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that investigation. Next up, Canopy Growth completes acquisition of leading Ontario-based cannabis brand Ace Valley. Canopy Growth back in the news again. There is no stopping them. They're moving right along. Let's see. Ianthus reports fiscal fourth quarter and full year 2020 financial results. The big story in the room here of late is New York legalizes cannabis in move that's expected to shake up the business and advance federal reforms. Comes through at 6:08 a.m. Market Watch. Going to hit a few more here before we jump into some stories. Halo Collective Incorporated reports record fourth quarter and full year 2020 results, gives 2021 guidance. Seems like we have a lot of stories from yesterday and beginning today of some earnings results and things like that. TransCanada closes unit financing, completes daily facility loan, issues shares for debt, and receives MCTO. 3:06 a.m. news file this morning. Last night, 11:17 p.m., VIVO Cannabis announces fourth quarter 2020 results. Next up, Cannabis announces full year and fourth quarter 2020 financial results. So, like I said, it looks like there's a lot of earnings here that are coming out. End of quarter, of course. Sir Royalty Income Fund announces filing of Sir Corp fiscal 2020-21 second quarter results. And looks like a lot of earnings results. So check out the news if you need more information on that. Okay, we're going to jump in to a few of our stories here that we want to feature today. And we are going to let one of our virtual friends, we're going to make it a surprise. Who's going to read this story for us, folks?
By far, this has to be the biggest story of the week so far. Here's what we know. Update: New York legalizes cannabis in move that's expected to shake up the business and advance federal reforms. Today, 6:08 a.m. Eastern Time, Market Watch. By Kira Linnen. Bill signed by Governor Cuomo will offer low and zero-interest loans to minority investors as part of social equity provision. After years of political wrangling and lobbying by advocacy groups, New York State has legalized cannabis for adult recreational use in a move that's expected to shake up the industry, inspire other states to follow suit, and help light a fire under the effort to reform the U.S.'s still strict cannabis laws. Governor Andrew Cuomo signed the bill early Wednesday, called it a historic day for the state, which is expected to become the second biggest cannabis market in the U.S., behind only California. New York is such a juggernaut and such an influencer, it will have a domino effect on the whole East Coast, said Rob DiPisa, co-chairman of the Cannabis Law Group at the law firm Cole Schatz. Charles Gormley, for Cannabis Law at Bratch Eichler, agreed. New York residents favor legalized cannabis by a wide margin, so it is welcome relief to the citizenry that this state will move ahead with creating a regulated cannabis marketplace for adult use, said Gormley. There seems to be a genuine commitment to move forward at a brisk pace, perhaps motivated by the reality that failing to do so will cede the marketplace to states like New Jersey that are on the way to creating a regulated and taxed marketplace for cannabis. The New York bill, called the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, will allow adults 21 and over to purchase marijuana and grow up to 6 plants at home. The state's existing medical cannabis operators will be allowed to operate 3 adult-use stores, co-locating them with their medical dispensaries. Back to you.
Thank you, Natasha. That was a great story. It sure does look like New York moved pretty fast on that to get that taken care of. Where other states, well, now I say fast, sounds like they've been working on it for quite a while. But here just recently, it just got, let's get it done. So, congratulations to New York and the residents of New York. Pretty envious of you, seeing that I'm in a state that is still illegal. Next up, we're going to look at Rubicon Organics repays $5 million first mortgage. Rubicon, you can find them on the TSXV as ROMJ. On the OTCQX, you can find them at ROMJF. We're going to bring Natasha back here to finish this story up for us.
Thank you. Rubicon Organics repays $5.0 million first mortgage. Today, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Globe Newswire. Rubicon Organics Incorporated, TSXV, ROMJ, OTCQX, ROMJF, Rubicon Organics, or the company, a licensed producer focused on cultivating and selling organic certified and premium cannabis, today announced that it has repaid the $5.0 million first mortgage on the Delta facility in full. The repayment of indebtedness was a stated use of proceeds for the company's recently completed equity financing, which raised gross proceeds of $23.0 million and closed on February 26, 2021. The company expects to refinance the majority of its remaining debt to a long-term mortgage financing facility with more favorable terms. Our debt financing has served us well, limiting dilution to shareholders as the company was ramping up its operations. We remain very well capitalized to execute on our innovation pipeline and advance strategic initiatives, all with the goal of driving shareholder value through disciplined capital allocation, said Jesse McConnell, Chief Executive Officer. About Rubicon Organics, Inc. Rubicon Organics Incorporated is becoming the global brand leader in organic cannabis products. Through its wholly owned subsidiary Rubicon Holdings Corp., a licensed producer, the company cultivates, processes, and sells organic certified, sustainably produced, super premium cannabis products from its state-of-the-art hybrid greenhouse located in Delta, BC, Canada. Rubicon Organics is focused on achieving industry-leading profitability through a focus on innovation and the development of brands and Cannabis 2.0 products, including its flagship super premium brand Simply Bare Organic and its super premium concentrate brand Lab Theory. Back to you.
Okay, great story on Rubicon. Looks like they're well funded and are moving forward. It's good to hear. Next up, TransCanada closes unit financing, completes daily facility loan, issues share for debt, and receives MCTO. This comes at us at 3:06 a.m. from Newsfile. Full disclosure, I do own some TransCanada. Got into it about a month ago, a little bit down on it right now, so just waiting to see what it can do for me. TransCanada traded on the CSE as TCAN, on the FSE TH8, and on the OTC TCNAF. Sorry, I had to look for the ticker real quick on my screen. Okay. We're going to bring Guy in to talk about this one for us.
Thank you. TransCanada is in the news. Let's look closer at this one. TransCanada closes unit financing, completes daily facility loan, issues shares for debt, and receives MCTO. Today, 3:06 a.m. Eastern Time, Newsfile. Vancouver, British Columbia, Newsfile Corp. April 1, 2021. TransCanada Holdings Incorporated, CSE, TCAN, FSE, TH8, TransCanada, or the company, is pleased to announce that it has closed a unit financing, completed the daily facility construction loan agreement, issued shares for debt to certain employees, and received an MCTO. Thank you to all of our shareholders for their support. I'm very excited about today's press release, to provide everyone with a number of updates as our entire team has been working feverishly to move the company into a position to be well capitalized through phase 1 of our build-out process, stated Bob Blink, CEO of the company. Daily Facility Loan. TransCanada is also pleased to announce that further to its news release of February 3, 2021, the company has successfully completed a construction loan agreement, the construction loan, with a U.S.-based lender, the lender, for a secured convertible loan of $2 million USD. After a lengthy and thorough due diligence process, we are delighted to have found the right partners with this lender for this exciting next phase, said Mr. Blink. Proceeds will be used exclusively for capital expenditures that will dramatically increase production capacity at the company's daily facility in Modesto, California. With this funding, we will complete Phase 1 construction at the daily facility, which is already 80% finished, said Mr. Blink. Achieving this significant milestone will empower us to increase output, boost profits, and set the stage for our Californian expansion. The company's planned facility build-out consists of 4 phases. Phase 1 includes 22,500 square feet of cultivation, a 16,000 square foot distribution and inventory storage area, and a 12,000 square foot packaging facility. This increased capacity will significantly assist us in meeting the outstripped demand for our supply of prized exotic flower, and to be even more responsive to the growing and evolving needs of our retailers and end consumers, said Alan Aplani, company general manager. It will also give us the ability to reasonably explore deals with a number of potential industry partners who have expressed interest in collaborating with us. The construction loan comes in the form of a secured convertible loan bearing 10% annual interest, with interest payable a year after the agreement date. The construction loan matures after a 2-year period, whereupon the company will repay the principal plus interest in cash. Subject to regulatory approval, the entire principal amount outstanding is convertible at the lender's option after expiry of the applicable statutory hold period into common shares of the company at a fixed conversion price of USD 59 cents per common share at any time from the agreement date until the maturity date. Upon the first drawdown by the company of any part of the construction loan, the lender will be entitled to appoint one member to the board of directors of the company. Back to you.
Thank you, Guy. Interesting story. Really detail on how they're going to do that loan. Next up, Green Lane Holdings shares gained 24% on deal to acquire Kushco. 3:31, 1:40 p.m. Dow Jones by Stephen Necrosis. Full disclosure, I have owned Green Lane. Did quite well for me when I had it. Haven't been back to it yet. But we're going to bring Mia in to talk about this one real quick.
Thank you. Green Lane Holdings shares gained 24% on deal to acquire Kushco. March 31, 1921, 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time, Dow Jones. By Stephen Necrosis. Shares of Green Lane Holdings Incorporated leaped on the Nasdaq after the company said it will acquire Kushco Holdings Inc. The two companies provide products and services to the cannabis industry. Kushco will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Green Lane. At 1:16 p.m. Eastern Time, Green Lane stock advanced 24.21% to $5.07. Volume topped 13.7 million shares, about double the stock's 65-day average volume. Kushco stock climbed 6.1% to $1.21. The companies said they expect the deal to close in the late second quarter or early third quarter. Also lifting shares of marijuana companies on Wednesday, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo signed legislation to legalize recreational pot for adults. Back to you.
Thank you, Mia. Interesting story there on Green Lane. Looks like they're doing a little acquisitions. The last story here for today, Harvest Health reports Q4 revenue of $69.9 million, success of rec sales in Arizona. Okay, they are traded on the CSE as HARV, HARV. OTCQX is HRVSF. All right, so this is our last story for today. We're going to come back after this with a few updates on headlines for this morning. I want to thank you for listening, as always. Just let you know we do have a social media platform out there with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Please check it out. Leave us a note if you'd like. Let us know how we're doing. We would love to hear from you. This has been a pleasure doing this podcast for me, or for you. Hope you enjoy the information I share. It is quite niche. You've got to really kind of be into the cannabis stock sector, an investor, trader, that type of thing. The general person may not really be that into this kind of podcast, and I get that. That's cool. I dig it. No worries. But I am having fun. This is just it's an extension of a book I wrote years ago called The Encyclopedia of Marijuana, or Publicly Traded Marijuana Stocks. A little eBay or ebook on Amazon that I wrote. And I need to do like a second edition because it'd be much bigger, much thicker. Because at that time, there was maybe, this was October of 16 when I put it out. Geez, there was maybe 130, 150 stocks that you could choose from. And now that number's grown, to like 450, 460, somewhere around through there. So I'm going to start compiling more research and maybe put out a second edition to that. So just keep your ear out for that. I'll be talking more about that when I get to that point. But back into the last story here. Harvest Health reports Q4 revenue of $69.9 million. Success of rec sales in Arizona. All right, Mia, can you take care of this and finish this up for us?
Thank you. Here is our last story for today. Harvest Health reports Q4 revenue of $69.9 million. Success of rec sales in Arizona. March 31, 1921, 12:42 p.m. Eastern Time, Benzinga print. Vertically integrated cannabis company Harvest Health and Recreation Incorporated CSE, Harvard OECQX, HRVSF, revealed Tuesday afternoon its total revenue spiked 98%, reaching $231.5 million in 2020. Total revenue in the fourth quarter amounted to $69.9 million, representing a year-over-year increase of 85%. The company also said that its net loss in 2020, before non-controlling interest, was $59.6 million. This compares to $168.8 million in the prior year. The net loss for the fourth quarter was $7.4 million, versus $85.2 million in the last year's corresponding quarter. Adjusted EBITDA was positive, however, hitting $15.3 million in 2020, compared to a $43.7 million loss in 2019. For the last 3 months of 2020, the company posted a positive adjusted EBITDA of $9.1 million versus a loss of $8.8 million in the same quarter of 2019. CEO Steve White said, "Fourth quarter results and the initial success of recreational sales in Arizona demonstrate the efficacy of our strategy to make targeted investments in our core markets of Arizona, Florida, Maryland, and Pennsylvania." The Tempe, Arizona-based company launched recreational cannabis sales in the Grand Canyon state in January. Quarterly operational highlights. During the quarter, Harvest Health boosted its retail footprint in Pennsylvania by cutting the ribbon on the 2 new stores in Camp Hill and King of Prussia. In November, the company opted to divest its Arkansas-based store and cultivation assets, owned and operated by Natural State Wellness Dispensary LLC and Natural State Wellness Enterprises LLC, securing $25 million in financing. As of December 31, the company owned, operated, or managed 38 stores across 6 states. However, in February, it divested North Dakota-based dispensary assets, including stores in Williston and Bismarck. Harvest Health expects to hit $380 million in revenue in 2021, including $87 million in revenue it anticipates generating in the first quarter. That's all I have. Back to you.
Thank you, Mia. Great story there. We're going to run down a couple last-minute headlines that came in here before we finish up for today. First off, Viro Health announces closing of previously announced divestiture of Ohio Medical Solutions, 7:32 a.m., PR Newswire. Delta 9 Cannabis Incorporated to host earnings call, 7:16 a.m., Access Newswire. All right, I want to thank you again for listening. It's always a pleasure doing this, getting the news out, sharing my research with anyone who is interested. Please check us out on our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in JohnnyFongo. We're there. This is Johnny Fongo. You've been listening to the Johnny Fongo Show. I want you to have a profitable day.